Isidora Aguirre. Isidora Aguirre Tupper 22 March 1919 25 February 2011 was a Chilean writer, and author mainly of dramatic works on social issues that have been performed in many countries in the Americas and Europe. Her best-known work is La Pérgola de las Flores, which constituted one of the milestones in the history of Chilean theater in the second half of the 20th century. Biography. The daughter of Fernando Aguirre Errázuriz and the painter Maria Tupper Honeyes 1893–1965, Isidora Aguirre was a student at the Joan of Arc School in Santiago and later studied social work, literature, piano, modern ballet, and drawing from 1937 to 1939. When she was 21, in 1940, Nina, as she was called, married Gerardo Carmona, a refugee from the Spanish Civil War. She lived in the countryside for 5 years, and later went with him to Paris, where she began to earn a living as an illustrator, while continuing to study theater. Back in Chile, a chance encounter with the actor and theater director Hugo Miller on a trolleybus was decisive in defining her vocation and devoting herself completely to dramaturgy. Thus, in 1952, Aguirre enrolled in a drama course dictated by him at the Chilean Academy of the Ministry of Education. From then on, her dedication to theatrical activity would lead her, on many occasions, to put aside her personal life, even. On her complete dedication to the theater, she said, "One always has to choose. It is not possible to be married and to write as I do. La Pérgola cost me tears. I had to spend whole days in the library looking for historical data, although I was expecting my youngest daughter and I would have liked to knit little coats. But the theater chose me. For Los Papeleros, I spent months chatting with those who rummaged through garbage cans. And Lautaro meant going on horseback to indigenous strongholds and living there. What husband supports that?" Before devoting herself to the theater, she had begun to write children's stories in 1938. She published a compilation of 8 of them. She also published a novel for children in 1948. Isidora Aguirre recalled her first literary essays. "I think it was at the age of 6 that I wrote a story that we later bound. It was called Los Anteojos de Pepito, and it was 3 pages with very large print. I did not write stories again until I was 15, when Marta Brunet, my mother's friend, entrusted me with the children's page of the magazine Familia." Like many Chilean playwrights during the 1950s and 1960s, her career began under the aegis of university theaters, institutions that, with the foundation of the Experimental Theater of University of Chile in 1941, and the Trial Theater of Catholic University in 1943, a professional theater practice characterized by a greater artistic and technical rigor than the commercial theater began to develop. This in turn fostered both the production of plays and the creation of new theatrical groups, and an audience for that type of theater in the country. In 1955, she premiered her first comedies Carolina and La Dama del Canasto, but very soon she dedicated herself to committed theater, a genre to which a large part of her production belongs. To effect social protest, she experimented with various theatrical styles: comedy, musical comedy, farce, historical works, testimonial works, and popular theater. In 1959, she premiered her first tragedy, Población Esperanza, of marked social content and written in conjunction with the novelist Manuel Rojas. The following year, she made the leap to fame with La Pérgola de las Flores, a play which has been produced innumerable times and was made into a film of the same name by the Uruguayan-Argentine director Roman Vinali Barreto in 1965. Isidora Aguirre also wrote novels for adults. The first, Doy por Vivido to do lo Senado, published in 1987, is the fictionalized story of her mother. The second, Carta wrote Dalton 1990, is dedicated to the Salvadoran writer and the love she shared with him in 1969, when she was a member of the Casa de las Americas prize jury, which Dalton won with his poetry collection Taberna y Otros Lugares. Finally, Santiago de December. A December is a love story that takes place during the government of Salvador Allende and the military coup of 11 September 1973. She was professor of Chilean theater and dramatic construction at University of Chile. She also taught at the Universidad Técnica del Estado and the Arau Corporation. After Augusto Pinochet took power in Chile, Isidora Aguirre, who remained in the country, lost her university job, but in her trips through Latin America, taught theater in workshops in Quito, Cali, Bogotá, and Mexico. She had 2 children with her first husband, Gerardo Carmona, and another 2 with the second. Isidora Aguirre Tupper died on the night of 25 February 2011 due to an internal hemorrhage. As her friend and writer Virginia Vidal commented to Isidora, Chile buried her, owing her the National Prize for Literature that would have been a diminished recognition of her vast work as a novelist and dramatist. Posthumously, a 5th novel of Aguirre's was published, Guerreros del Sur, written in collaboration with Renato Peruggi and with a prologue by Andrea Jeftanovic. The book is inspired by Leoncher, the Taqui who defeated the Spaniards at the Battle of Las Cangrejuras on 15 May 1629. In spite of her immense body of work, progressive spirit, defense of human rights, and patriotic activity, the Concertation governments repeatedly denied the National Prize for Literature to Isidora Aguirre. This fact was recalled by the dramatist Juan Radrigan in his acceptance speech for the prize in 2012. Selected works: La Pérgola de las Flores. It narrates the fight that the pergolas of Santiago gave to not lose its traditional working places, and the arrival of Carmela, a young peasant who arrived at the city of Santiago in the process of urbanization and modernization. It shows the contrast between the culture of the countryside and the capital. It is a story of love, of traditions, but also of negotiation between the lower classes and the authorities. Los Papeleros. It shows the indignant and inhuman subsistence carried by a group of collectors in the 60s, in a dump in the suburbs of Santiago. Different social conflicts are generated through key characters in the story, framed by poverty and discrimination. Los que van quedando en el camino. It represents the uprising and the subsequent massacre of peasants that took place in the southern town of Ranquil in 1934. The subject is the property right of the land, a very hot problem. It presents the facts in the Brechtian way, highlighting the internal contradictions of the characters. Awards and distinctions. Critical and Golden Laurel Award for Población Esperanza. Critical Award for La Pérgola de las Flores. Luis Alberto Eremans Award for Popular Theater. 1964 Santiago Municipal Literature Award for Los Papeleros. 1971 Santiago Municipal Literature Award for Los que van quedando en el camino. Eugenio Ditborn Award for Lautaro. 1987 Casa de las Americas Prize for El Retablo de Yumbel. Medal of Santiago for her contribution to national culture. 2005 Pablo Neruda Order of Artistic and Cultural Merit. Works: 1938 Ocho Cuentos Children's, ed. Zigzag, Santiago, Chile. 1948 Yki Children's Novel, ed. Rapa Nui, Santiago, Chile. 1955 Carolina Comedy. 1955 La Dama del Canasto Comedy. 1956 Pacto de Medianoche Comedy in one act. 1956 Anacleto Chin Chin children's farce in one act. 1956. 1957 Das y das Son Cinco comedy in 3 acts. 1957 Los Tres Pascualas drama in 3 acts about the legend of the 3 Pascualas, about 3 women who kill themselves over the same man. 1957 La Micro monologue for a woman in 1 act. 1958 Los Sardinas o la Supresión de Amanda monologue for a man in 1 act. 1959 Población Esperanza tragedy written with Manuel Rojas. 1960 La Pérgola de las Flores musical comedy. Music and lyrics of 3 songs. Francisco Flores del Campo. Direction of the premier, Eugenio Guzman. 1962 Los Papeleros with songs by Gustavo Becerra. 1964 Municipal Award. 1964 Don Anacleto Avaro farce, published in a volume of School Theatre. 1965 La Dama del Canesto play, with music by Sergio Ortega. 1969 Los que ven quedando en el camino drama based on actual events. The title comes from a phrase from Che Guevara. 1970 Quien tuvo la culpa de la muerte de la Maria Gonzalez play. 1972 Cape Zones de la Furia educational theater contingent. 1972 Historia de los JJCC choreography by Patricio Bunster. Direction by Victor Jara, Estadio Nacional. 1974 An Acuelos Locos Anos 20 adaptation of La Senorita Charleston by Armando Much. 1974 La Desideria and El Cielo play, music by Luis Advice. 1975 La Leyenda de los Tres Pascualas play, second version. 1979 Amor a la Africana comedy. 1980 Los Jugglers play. 1982 Lautaro. Epopea del Pueblo Mapuche play. 1982 Esos Padres de la Patria, Manuel Rodriguez play, popular music epic. 1983 Fuente of Juna Aguirre's adaptation of the classic play by Lope de Vega. 1984 My Primo Federico piece, whose action takes place in Granada. 1986 Federico Hermano tribute to Garcia Lorca poetic drama. 1987 El Retablo de Yumbel play, Casa de las Americas prize. 1987 Doy por vivido to lo Senado novel. 1987 Senor President theatrical adaptation of the novel by Miguel Angel Asturias. 1988 Diálogos de fin de siglo piece inspired by the tragedy of Chilean President José Manuel Ballester. 1988 Tía Irene, Yo te amaba play. 1990 Carta a Roque Dalton novel. 1993 Los Libertadores Bolívar y Miranda historical piece about Simon Bolivar and Francisco de Miranda. 1998 Santiago de December, a December novel. 1999 Manuel piece based on the legend of Manuel Rodriguez. 2000 El Adelantado Don Diego Almagro play about Diego de Almagro. 2003 Subiendo. Ultimo Hombre piece about the closure of coal mines in Lota. 2007 Isidora Aguirre Antologia Essential. 50 Anos de Dramaturgia, eds. Fronteras Sur. 2011 Guerreros del Sur novel, with prologue by Andrea Jeftanovic, Santiago, Car Editors.